This is Meredith from the Cedar Rapids Public Library, and I'm here to share with you some information about apprenticeships, specifically union apprenticeships. In these uncertain times, I think it's even more unnerving to be looking for a job or for a career. So I spoke with a couple local union representatives to understand more how apprenticeships work, why a union apprenticeship might be considered different than other apprenticeship programs, and what's changed as locals are taking precautions regarding COVID-19. In my research, I found that there are a lot of great resources for apprenticeship opportunities. These aren't necessarily tied to unions, and I'll share those as well. So there's a lot of information coming your way in a short time. I hope you can take a look at the links included in the description for this video that's on our YouTube channel in order to get all the information you need to start your search for just the right career. Let's start with the very basics. So, something that I think is important to lay out in the beginning is just what an apprenticeship is. So, for those of you that don't know, apprenticeship programs put together systematic on-the-job training. It's very specific stuff that you're doing to get your hands on actual work experience. And you also get classroom instruction to go along with that. Now, all of the instruction, the classes, are taught or mentored by master level practitioners. So people that have been working in the field with the material and with the rules and regulations that go along with it. And apprenticeships are available in so many different industries, and they look very different depending on what the job responsibilities are. Now, for as many industries as there are different titles and different kinds of classes that go along with them. So you have to check with individual programs. You can't assume that one apprenticeship looks the same as another, even if it is a similar field. And an apprenticeship does not have to be union affiliated. At the very end, we'll go through some of the state and federal resources I found for finding apprenticeships. So that, very briefly, is what an apprenticeship entails. Now, just like I said, the training varies, so does the length of training and the ratio of classroom time to on-the-job time. So, just as a disclaimer, every program is different, but they all function in basically the same way. Now, I think it's an interesting distinction why a union apprenticeship might be preferred over any other program. And a couple things that came to the surface when I started asking questions was that, one, quite often, nearly all the time, when you begin your apprenticeship, you have benefits that start with that apprenticeship. So insurance, for instance, things like that, those happen immediately with your apprenticeship. Not every other apprenticeship offers that. Also, wages are locked in to be a percentage of a journey person's, like a practitioner's wages, and those should adjust with cost of living. So they'll have incremental wages as determined by contracts. Also, those local training centers that come out of unions where apprenticeships happen, they are deep with incredible folks that have lots and lots of experience, both in the instruction and in the hands-on work. So you can go to a training center and have, a handful of folks there that it's just their job to be training. And then on top of that, the apprenticeship programs that you complete with a union offer you credentials that you earn at the end of that certificate. And so those are recognized by state and local organizations, and it's just an added thing over an apprenticeship that might give you experience, but no credentials to go with it. So those are some of the benefits of going through a union to complete an apprenticeship. Now, another reason why it might be a good idea to start an apprenticeship with a union is this chart from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. It's a wage outlook chart from 2019, and I know a lot of things have changed this year, but the column I want to point out is the employment growth that's projected for almost the next decade. If you look at the occupations on the side, it's carpenters, construction laborers, electrical power line installers and repairs. Boy, aren't we glad for them. Electricians, heavy and tractor trailer truck drivers, plumbers, pipe fitters and steam fitters, and sheet metal workers. Those occupations have very, very, very many opportunities for apprenticeship, and many of those entities go along with unions. And you can see that these jobs are growing either faster than average, much faster than average, or at least as fast as average of all the other jobs that the Bureau of Labor Statistics looks at when they're seeing the country's employment opportunities on a whole. So those fields are growing and unions can be there for you. Now, it's kind of overwhelming to think, oh my gosh, how do I choose an apprenticeship? How do I choose a field? A couple things real briefly. So the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is part of the U.S. Department of Labor, has occupational outlooks, that's what they call, where they will take a snapshot of different occupations, and you can look at that to see if it's a growing field, what the median wage you could learn is, and what kind of training goes into it, as well as what potential employment you could get from it. So that's a great place to look. Also, the U.S. Department of Labor and apprenticeship.gov have really big, broad categories of different industries that you can investigate for finding apprenticeship opportunities. So those are at the highest level when you're looking at things of interest. And here are some local labor unions. Through the Hawkeye Area Labor Council, there's a list of affiliate unions in the area that you could peruse to find a right fit for you. So here you can see we have electricians, carpenters, iron workers, pipe fitters, and building and construction trades. So those are just a few out of a long list to get you thinking about potential apprenticeships. Now, you may ask, how do I start the apprenticeship program? Once you kind of narrow down what industry you're interested in, then there'll be an application process. Most local union websites have a portion of their website dedicated just to the application process, which includes information about the program, the requirements for enrollment, and what the actual application process is. Usually there's an application fee. It ranges anywhere from $15 to $25 mostly. And then often after you submit your application fee and your application, there's an interview to complete the application process. Most unions require that you are 18 years old. Most require a valid driver's license and a high school diploma or equivalent. You also need to pass a drug screening as a part of that process. And additionally, some unions also require a national test, the NCRC test, which basically evaluates math, logic, and reading skills related to on-the-job communications. Now, these tests are administered by the Iowa Workforce Development, and they're currently on pause due to COVID-19 social distance restrictions. So make sure that you're calling the local offices to confirm if their applications are being accepted currently or not. Now, once you've started this process, some things that you can expect in an apprenticeship are: 1, on-the-job training. So that's 40 hours a week where you're doing hands-on work. There'll also be classroom training, often at night, a couple hours at a time, usually, maybe several days a week. You'll be able to expect pay and benefits right away. You'll probably have to provide your own tools that you bring to the work site. And most apprenticeships last anywhere from 2 to 5 years. Now, one thing that I should have said at the beginning of this slide is to get to this process, you'll be most likely put in a ranking system after the results of your interview and tests. And that's how they'll go down the line to accept apprentices into the program. And then once you're into the program, these are the things that you'll be able to expect. Now, just as an example, Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local 125 has a really great FAQ page regarding apprenticeship. So just as an example of how each individual union will have details on their program, you can see there's all sorts of stuff here, right? So everything from the Joint Apprenticeship Training Committee, which oversees apprenticeship training for more than one entity, what the interview looks like, what the classes will look like, when your benefits start, and it goes on and on. So another question you may ask is, what if I don't necessarily want to be in a union? Some people don't necessarily want to align with one union or another. Or what if of the industries I've mentioned, what if none of those seem exciting? Or like something you'd want to turn into a career? What if I don't want to be a pipe fitter? These are some of the great resources that I found while doing my research. So here, Earn and Learn is a state of Iowa program where it's registered apprenticeship programs that you can search. It's so great. I was really surprised when I was browsing through different career options, and these are some that I saw listed. One, being a barber, a medical secretary, a home health aide, and a wine cellar. It's kind of amazing. So apprenticeships aren't just being an electrician, for instance, or a plumber. There's a wide variety of industries that you can choose from. Another great resource is apprenticeship.gov. This is through the federal government, and it's very much the same. However, the website works differently. As a search engine, you can search by location. So when I searched for the library's zip code, 52401, I found all of these different jobs. One being a bench jeweler, right? Management and sales, laborer, electrician apprentice, and grooming salon apprentice. Now, something you'll notice here is that not all of these apprenticeships are registered or will give you credentials at the end of your apprenticeship. So I put the arrow next to the electrician apprenticeship. You'll see that one is registered. So the Tradesman International out of Hiawatha, you would exit that program with credentials to go along with your job. Now that's the quick tour of what you can expect out of an apprenticeship opportunity and ways that you can access them. I wanted to share with you that the library has changed this week. What we have is we have opened up our grab and go services. So here's a little chart of what you can do right now. You can still make appointments for curbside hold pickup and use public computers for up to an hour a day. You can still come grab and go holds in our lobbies, but you can now grab and go books, movies, and more in 30 minutes or less. That's browsing, people. There are limited capacities at both of our buildings, so we ask that you keep it to 30 minutes just so that we can ensure that everybody gets a chance. But it's new and it's happening. You can still print using our public computers or mobile printing, and you can still get recommendations for the next great read, watch, and listen. So we're not up to hanging out in the library yet. We're not quite up to using study rooms or private event use of the library. Can't just drop off the kids yet. We're really excited for the day when we can do public programs. And one of these days, we'll be able to help you one-on-one actually at the computers. But until then, please give us a call, send us an email, come visit us in person. because from all of us here at the public library, we're glad to have you back, and thanks for still watching.
Can we listen to it?
No.